So I'm very excited because we are getting ready to be on our way to the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival in Asheville, North Carolina. And we will be there all week doing some continuing education. I have 4 classes that I'm taking. I'm picking up my great wheel, it's like the giant spinning wheel. If you've seen, like, from the 1800s, people are like, that looks like what Rumpelstiltskin would spin on. So I'm getting a high wheel, great wheel, walking wheel, whatever you want to call it. And then we're doing a little bit of shopping and, of course, going to see the sheepdog demonstrations. And so I am very excited for this week, and can't wait to get on the road. Good morning. So we are still in our Airbnb and we're about to head out to the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival. And I'm very excited. Today is just our festival goer day, and then I'm having lunch with a friend. But yes, so let's get over there and listen to Stephen West in the car with his parody knitting songs.
In fact, her daughter is a weaver, and I was wondering if I was going to bump into her today.
That's so cool.
Oh, the big...
Yeah, it should. Okay, so that's the next thing, and you loosen up the
Cool.
Is there a peg under it? I'm not sure. No. Somebody, so
You're doing it!
that is cool.
Now to...
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Yeah, I want you to do that for me too, though.
Oh yes, big time. My friend Mary told me don't go all the way back because I'm like, I'll show you. On hers, I spin like...
Yeah. I've seen people just give it a real turn and then walk back. That's why it's the walking wheel, I think.
You have to butterfly it.
Yeah, I've done that.
You know, that's exactly what this wine was doing, and I just got it.
Beautiful. I'm so happy this wheel is working out.
I know, I am too. I was a little bit worried for a second.
So was I. So was I. But you just hit it with something.
Faith.
You just hit it with something, and it
Yeah, it's
we
like
freed
old
it up.
Things, you slam them.
Yeah.
Violence is the answer, as my dad would say. Do you want to try?
I do.
Hi. So I just got back from the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair in Asheville or Fletcher, North Carolina. I go to this festival every year, and I have since 2018, except for 2020. That was the year we just did WAFA, which is the Wool and Fiber Arts group on Facebook, and they did online festivals there. But a fiber festival is a really good place to go to get inspiration, to meet other people, to learn new skills, to expose yourself to new crafts, techniques, designers, products. It's really cool. And there are also, so at a fiber festival, there are usually vendors. They are selling yarn, they're selling knitting needles, they're selling all the different things that go with knitting and crochet and weaving and all the different fiber arts. So they sell all of those things. There are also usually demonstrations. There are sometimes classes. There are competitions between fleeces that come right off the sheep themselves, the fiber arts crafts themselves. Not sure about anything else. And it's a really good place to meet up with friends, especially if you're going to one of these big fiber festivals where people come from states away and states away. It's just a really fun time, fun gathering. So SAFF, the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, is one of the biggest fiber festivals in the country, and they have it at the WNC Agricultural Fairgrounds. There's an expo building, Davis Arena, the Boone building for classes, and the McGow Arena for the sheep. There's also alpacas. This year we didn't get to see any of the animals. Usually they have sheepdog demonstrations too. The sheepdogs, the shepherds and collies will they will shepherd sheep, but also they will herd geese, which is really interesting to see. It's very cool. Sometimes they control them with a whistle. Sometimes they like snap and things. It's really interesting. Or they call out. But so I wanted to talk about just what we did this year and our whole experience. So I'm going to go by it day by day, what we did. Wednesday night, we drove down to Asheville. We stopped at Buc-ee's on the way just because it's like such a fun, silly little stop. It's worth it. And we arrived in Asheville that night at an Airbnb. It was very cute. Highly recommend. And then we were able to get some good rest before our class on Thursday. I'm going to go work on my cooking. So Thursday morning, there were only classes. There was no shopping. And we showed up and volunteered for a little bit. I finished spinning on a drop spindle one of my contest entries, and then I went and turned in my contest entries. At that point, it was pretty much time for my class. I took an Inkle weaving class, which an Inkle loom is just a type of loom. It is like a board with pegs sticking out of it, and you wrap your thread around the pegs in specific motions, and you put heddles, which are kind of like, they allow you to pick up and make different areas where you can put a weft thread, which goes side to side, through the up and down threads, and it'll stick and make fabric. It'll start to make fabric. So you have heddles, you have your warp, which goes up and down, you have your weft, which goes side to side, and this loom in particular, the colors are made by the up and down threads, not the side to side threads. So I made a strap in that class, and I thought it looked very cool. I'll put some pictures in. Then Thursday night we had dinner with a friend who was holding a spinning wheel for me that I had purchased this past summer, and it was in the same town that she lived in and that the festival is happening. So she was able to hold it for me until we came down for the festival. And thank goodness it fit in the car. So very thankful and grateful and lucky and happy that it fit in the car, even with all of our stuff. And we got it home safe. So that's really all that matters. Also, it works. So that's just a cherry on top. Just a little bit. And then our friend Nancy gave me a wonderful book that I'm going to start reading called Vanishing Fleece. And I'll have to write about that in my book club on my website, my book club blog on my website. Say that 3 times fast. Book club blog. So that was Thursday. Friday was our shopping day. So I got yarn for a hat that I am designing, my Cumberland Island National Seashore hat. And then I got some beautiful magenta and bubblegum mohair yarn that I have a couple of different projects in mind for. I got a fun, just for fun, I had to get something for fun. I got a rainbow roll log set and a navy bat for spinning. And then I got some fiber for our hats that I do for Christmas presents for my family, and some various small little weaving supplies, and a supply for my small business, some locks for these cute little sheep hats. I needle felt sheep onto hats, and people love those. Saturday, so I didn't have any classes on Friday. Saturday, I did have a class. In the morning, I had a hat design class, which is where I was wanting to get some guidance for my Cumberland Island National Seashore hat pattern. And then I also was able to, kind of through that class, be able to take that knowledge and convert it into sweater design knowledge, because I have an idea for a sweater that I would really like to do. And even though I have never done a sweater, I'm like, I'll just keep this in the back of my mind for when I do have the knowledge about sweaters and when I do feel a little bit more comfortable doing sweaters, because I think I have some sweaters coming up that are going to be pretty simple as that can get. A sweater, knitting a sweater, oh my gosh. And then that was really all we did on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I had 2 classes. I got up very early in the morning, and I went to my high wheel, also known as great wheel or walking wheel, spinning wheel class. And we learned kind of about the theory of spinning. We learned the theory of spinning support from a point, which is what type of spinning you're doing on a great wheel. But it's also the most primitive form of spinning. So we tried some of the most primitive form of spinning with a kitchen skewer and a potato cube. The kitchen skewer, you flick it and you hold it in your hand and it doesn't turn very much. But when you add the potato cube on the bottom and you flick it, it adds a little bit of momentum and you get twist. So when you add a thread, a wool thread, or a tuft of wool, you can add twist and make a thread, which will twist the fibers together and they become strong. This is the same theory for rope. This is the same theory for cordage. This is the same theory for thread. Thread, yarn, rope, cordage, all of it, wire, cables. This is the theory. Add twist, draft fibers apart. They interlock. So that was what we studied, and then we studied a little bit about the mechanics of the wheels themselves. They're almost each great wheel is very different. Not very different, but there's so many variations that you can get with a great wheel. And I'm going to be doing a video on my great wheel. And there you'll get to see all of those different intricate parts. They're not even very intricate. The teacher was speaking about how great wheels are a simple tool. They just add a lot more twist into, they're able to add a lot more twist into the fibers than a low wheel can or than a supported spindle can. So that's why they exist. They've existed since the Middle Ages, and I think Jillian Eve said they started out based on Charka wheels and Asian large wheels. I'm not totally sure about that, so don't take my word for it. I just heard that. I'm going to need to do some more research on in depth into spinning in Asia. I don't know that much about spinning in Asia. But every culture has spinning. Every culture has some form of cordage, spinning, thread, all of it. Because one step up from animal skins is cloth, which comes from thread. So there you have it. And then we did a little bit of spinning on our great wheels. The people that brought them, we had 3 or 4 of them in class. And the good news is we were able to get mine working. We had to hit a part of it with a hammer to get it to work because it was glued. That was the tension part. And we had to make a drive band, so we got to pre-stretch my drive band cordage and get that tied on there. And I'm very happy with how it spins right now. I am going to do some work on it, but for the most part, I'm very happy with it. After my great wheel class, I had a little bit of time to go pick up my contest entries. I won an honorable mention and a 3rd place in the contests, and I entered 4 items, so feeling good about that. And then we were able to get a little snack. I'm trying to think. I don't think there was anything else I really did during that time. And then I went to my next class, my last class, which was making a sweater that fits. We just studied the way that sweaters are made and the way that you want to size them, gauge, different things like that. And I've never done a sweater before, so we just in that class studied. We didn't do, but I did try out a gauge swatch, which is a little square of knitting that you do so that you can measure your knitting and see what your tension is going to be compared to what the designer did in their tension to design the garment, how much smaller or bigger your knitting is going to be based on how tight you hold your yarn and how tight you knit together. So that was really fun. And then the class ended. My mom was able to take, I think, 2 classes. She took crochet, making things out of shapes. So they did circles and squares and rectangles. And then she took some weaving class on the Zoom loom, which it was really, really cool to see her work with that, and I'm very happy for her that she was able to do that. She loves weaving, and it was really, really awesome to be able to take this wonderful trip with my mom and to share my passion with her and have her share her passions with me. And I am just so grateful that we were able to take this time and go to this festival. So that was basically our trip. Now I was able to come home, get my great wheel set up in the home. It fits where I want it to. It looks good. And I spun on it, finished a test spin. It looks good. I scanned up my test spins. They look good. I'm excited to get to work on that. And to film a video about it. I got all of my stuff organized and looked at my schedule of crafting and was able to kind of fit some things in so that I can go ahead and use the supplies that I bought and make the things with them. And I think that's really it. Everything that I bought has a purpose, except for one item that I'm not quite sure yet what I'm going to make with it. That's the rainbow roll-logs. It's white base with rainbow outer fibers, and I think that's going to create a beautiful candy stripe effect in the yarn. I think I'll want to keep it a single because singles just look so elegant. I'm going to explain all of this in the videos when I do it. But they look so elegant, and it should create a really cool pattern. So I'll have to look for some rainbow inspired patterns and get to it on that. But everything else has a purpose now that I know, and I will make videos of all of it when I do the things. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. If you have a craft that you do, I hope you will let me know what you're up to in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching.